When you think of heroes in a pandemic, the name Alexander Miles Thrivemore probably doesn't come to mind. That's because he's an emoji. But he is also, in the eyes of a number of CEOs of not-for-profit organizations on Florida's Sun Coast, a hero.
We need a clearer strategy.
We felt the biggest hurdle was getting all of the board members on board.
How can you perform theatrical productions away from our theater?
We needed direction. What's doable, what's realistic.
That supersedes all the bad stuff of the pandemic and still do something that can really bring in money, bring in our revenue, but stick with our mission still.
Alexander Miles Thrivemore is the face of Advancing Mission Thrivability, and he's going to introduce you to a valuable initiative that can benefit all types of nonprofits in your community.
So when the pandemic gives you lemons, what do? You make lemonade. And at the Patterson Foundation, we tried doing that and helping our nonprofits with that. We were about to launch one of our initiatives, Margin Mission Ignition, when the pandemic hit. And we realized pretty quickly our nonprofits were going through those three phases: cope, adapt, and innovate. And we wanted to get them to innovate as quickly as possible.
Our organization was going through a significant transition, and we jumped at the opportunity to see how they could help us make decisions better and really focus on our mission moving forward.
When the pandemic hit and the world went virtual, so too did the Patterson Foundation's initiatives, one of which was a newly created one called Advancing Mission Thrivability, offered specifically to nonprofits in our 4-county region to help them be more thrivable.
What an opportunity for us. We thought this was the best time because we have not really done much virtually at all. And I know a lot of folks have done a little bit virtually. We've done virtually, no pun intended, nothing.
We jumped right on it. COVID was clearly having an impact on us as other organizations, and we wanted to take advantage of the opportunity to kind of really take a look more deeply at our organization and the impact that the changes were going to have on our particular thrivability. And so it was a great opportunity to do that with consultants that we already knew and trusted.
In our small community, several not-for-profits had worked in previous years with No Margin, No Mission and their earned income strategies. And I was so they were on my radar, and I was paying attention to what was coming up next. When the opportunity for Advancing Mission Thrivability came about, I jumped at it, and I actually made a pretty impassioned plea to be included in the program.
Executive directors, CEOs, board members, and staff members were invited to participate in a series of 4 virtual sessions that were convened weekly, which we titled Laminars and Webversations. That's right, completely made up words, which, as we do at the Patterson Foundation frequently, were a big hit. So we convened 2 Laminars, which were our version of content-rich learning labs, delivered in a 60-minute webinar format. The Laminars were followed by 2 Webversations, which allowed participants to come together for an hour of virtual togetherness and have the opportunity for Q&A, interaction, and collaboration.
We hope as they've added rigor with you, that you have found it to be coming from the positive, only to help you be the very best you are in taking you to the next level.
But as is often the case with the Patterson Foundation, there was the opportunity for more. For those organizations that had the interest, the wherewithal, and the desire to delve deeper into the work, they could submit what we called an advancement packet or an application to receive one-to-one consulting support from No Margin, No Mission.
Each organization is unique, has their own challenges, and we meet them where they're at and stay flexible. The overall goal is to help them make better decisions using mission and margin as part of that decision-making process.
But in order to get there, they were going to have to make some pretty tough decisions from a funding perspective, from a program perspective, and we wanted to make sure to help them make those through a mission lens.
Decision-making for any nonprofit, especially in the time of crisis, is absolutely critical to their success. When you look through an economically informed and mission-centric lens, this behind me, this decision-making matrix, is a way to find out whether everything you do with your products, your programs, or your services is either high mission, high margin, neither, or both.
We had almost all of our programming was a low margin programming, high mission but low margin. So being able to single that out was a revelation.
It would seem that you're just too heavy on the marketing, the marketing investment component.
Because of the way we've been operating, is say, hey, agency, what do you recommend to sell this many seats under these circumstances for this new thing? And that's where we started. So if we need to start doing some sculpting and shaping from the business perspective, we need that counsel. It's not something that we've ever done before, and it's not part of our way of doing it. So we really do need that insight.
I don't know if we've ever coached an organization to reduce their marketing budget. Usually you have to beg them to increase their marketing budget. So for Mike to even put this on the table, it's a big deal.
Had we not had those sessions, probably because we're so busy, we maybe not have taken the same kind of time to really tease all that out. And that's what, when you stop and you think and other people ask you questions and give an outside perspective.
It's important that the executive director and a board member be involved in our discussions. We talk about every project, program, and activity that the organization has, and we talk about how decisions were made, are being made, and could maybe be made differently in the future, keeping mission and margin as part of that discussion.
They embrace the entrepreneur spirit. They really are about helping organizations stretch beyond where they thought they could stretch, being risk takers. They validate that. They allow us to really dig deep into the entire team, not just maybe the one or two voices that might be in the CEO, the executive director's ear.
The team we worked with pointed out the time-consuming and resource-draining processes that we were focusing on for decision-making between the leadership and the board of directors. In particular, we had an over-reliance on consensus building. During the 4-week consulting arrangement, we were able to practice other strategies, including simply gathering board buy-in, which allowed us to tap into the brain trust that exists in our board of directors without the time-consuming, resource-draining process that we'd been using before. And that was really an opportunity for me to step into my authority and power in the role of executive director, which has made a sea change in this organization.
We document our conversations, we create timelines, and most are implementing change prior to the end of our 4-week consulting sprint. Many of them blog their experiences along the way and share their learning.
What it really helped us do is take time to pause, reflect, and be more proactive, especially in times of a pandemic, and less reactive. And so we are so thankful to the Patterson Foundation for this opportunity and for the ability to continue forward.
It opens your eyes to things that you don't see. And it lets you explore new experiences and sometimes new ways to look at the same things that you're doing and achieve better results.
Yeah, these kinds of consulting services and opportunities allow us to take a really honest look at ourselves, but at the same time celebrate our successes. And that's really important because you can get really caught up in what's not working, but it's really important to be able to also speak to what is working. And I think the balance of the two makes it such a positive and important experience that an organization can go through.
Advancing Mission Thrivability is an initiative that was created by the Patterson Foundation in response to the pandemic. But the framework, the discipline, the thinking are applicable to any nonprofit organization, whether we're in a pandemic or not. So we urge executive directors, CEOs, board members, and staff members, regardless of the community that they're in, regardless of the size of their organization or their mission, to apply the rigor and the discipline and the thinking to their own organization's strategic decision-making.
It was hard work. It wasn't for the faint of heart, but it was well worth it. And will set our direction for the future. I feel good about that.